Time now to get the latest trends in dive retailing, travel, and training with Level Up, the podcast of Scuba Diving Industry Magazine. Now, here's your host, Scuba Radio's Greg the Dive Master.
And welcome. This is Level Up, the official podcast of Scuba Diving Industry Magazine. I am Greg the Dive Master from Scuba Radio. Check it out every Saturday, 3 to 5 Eastern Time. However, today we're talking about industry stuff. So I got Willie Klein with me and his fine son, Britton, to help launch today's Level Up podcast. Willie, how you doing there, buddy?
Oh, doing just great, just great. So before we get started, this is a little serious moment, but we happen to be based in Texas, and although we're not anywhere near where all this horrible disaster happened, I just can't see how we shouldn't take just a few seconds, have a moment of silence for these terrible, terrible tragedy that's occurred just 4 or 5 hours from us. Thank you. I would just be with all those families. It's so hard to talk about really fun stuff when such tragedy is going on. So you have to address it, I think. So anyhow, so we're back. Welcome. We had a great issue. This issue is our midsummer issue. So we thought it appropriate that you should be able to see right here, a diver in Iceland, freezing cold water, which everybody would like to have in July.
So, well, I don't know about that cold. I've been there. It's just above freezing in a lot of those spots, but it looks amazing. Looks extremely inviting until you stick your toes in there. And one word says it all: shrinkage. Moving on, right? So Britton is with us as well, and I think we probably need to go right to him and find out what's going on with you, Britton, don't we? What do you think?
I guess so. Well, it's so great to be back, everyone. And that's right, Greg. We do have a couple fun things that we're rolling out. As we know, we're just 126 days away from the DEMA show now. And it is time to make your brand impossible to miss. So Scuba Diving Industry Magazine is offering a Dive into DEMA 6-month marketing package designed to get you in front of dive professionals before, during, and after the show. It's a powerful bundle, and it includes our monthly print and digital issues. Plus, we offer sponsored emailers to extend your reach even more, even deeper. But we're also offering special co-op advertising programs for tourist boards and resorts as well. And if you remember from last year's DEMA show, our special DEMA issue is hand-delivered in the DEMA show lobby. Plus, we include a handy exhibitor directory, putting your message directly in the hands of every attendee. And that's in addition to our normal print and digital circulation for October, of course. But if you are interested, please give me a call. My contact info is in the summary for this episode. But guys, I'll swing it back to you. That's all I had.
That was a lot. That was a lot.
I know it.
Yeah.
Only 126 days to DEMA. By the way, right here in my backyard, Scuba Radio is based in Orlando, so I love it when it's here because I can kind of play host and say, hey, go here, go there. Don't avoid this place. But but come over here, and we got a lot of new stuff for the dive industry to check out in the off hours of the DEMA show this year in November. So it's going to be quite an event indeed. All right, so Willie, getting right to it. We got to get to someone who's on the road. Otherwise,
literally on the road.
We're going to lose him if we don't. And that would be Dan Orr, the man of the hour. I don't know. Where are you at? Somewhere in the Great White West, or where?
I'm in the high desert of eastern Oregon.
Okay, should we congratulate you, or just say glad we're not
condolences.
You? Oh,
yeah,
condolences.
That's good.
All right, close enough. What do you got for us this week, there, Dan?
We were talking about the checklist and doing a consistent pre-dive ritual and being on a lot of dive boats like we all are. And of course, you may be on a liveaboard, but then you either get on a Zodiac or to get a dive site, and you want to be able to check yourself. And check your buddy. And so doing what I call my safety cross, where I'm checking to make sure that my breathing gas is on, my pressure gauge is working, everything is where it should be before I get in the water. And then I repeat it once I'm in the water.
And then no one can hear it when you do this, or like, it doesn't go like that, does it?
No, it's not a verbal one. No, I do a cross.
Okay. I figured that was the case.
Stew across, and I'm making sure that this is where it should be. That's where it should be. Breathing gas is on, weight belt, and weights are on. Everything is ready to get in the water.
Gotcha. I like that. That makes total sense. And once
Are you
again,
losing me?
But page 7, checklists and a consistent pre-dive ritual. So that is a continuation of things. Gil has a question or comment. What do you think, Gil?
Right. That's an excellent reminder, because when I was in Palau a couple of months ago with a group of 12, 11 of us were waiting on the bottom for the 12th person. She jumped off, started to descend, and realized she didn't have her fins on.
Oh. Yeah, it's kind of hard to catch up with everybody and keep up with everybody without fins on.
Right.
And, and I do have to, I know you can't stay for very long, Dan, but I got to say, a good friend of all of ours, Al Hornsby, has been writing a fantastic series for us every month. It's a column on liability. He's probably the world's preeminent individual that has dealt with probably more litigation in our industry than anybody else. But his article this month is specifically that issue. It was a resort course. Person went on a dive. The instructor didn't follow his checklist of what do you do after the dive. They jumped. The boat hit a little tiny wake, and the person fell over backwards and drowned. I mean, such tragedy, unnecessary. Just simply having followed simple checklists to make sure that as soon as students come out of the water, the weight belt comes off. The tank comes off. There's no excuse for that stuff. So there's a real world application of that in his article. He's not with us today at writing, but take a look at the issue. It's a good article.
Good. Yeah, we'll do that.
Absolutely. Well, Dan, always a pleasure. I guess we got to let you ride off into the sunset.
Get back to driving. Right.
We're going to lose them anyway.
Okay. All right. Take care.
There you go, Dan Orr. All right. Moving on to our next writer would be Catherine Castle Garcia.
From Oregon to the Azores.
Yes. And Portugal.
Right.
Yeah, I love it. Page 22, show and sell, tips for using video as a sales tool. Catherine, what are 4 key things for using video to sell? Because I think that's what you write about, right?
Yeah, this article, we first of all addressed why video, and that answer might be duh, it's what everybody does, but the why behind it is a fourfold answer. First of all, we're speaking directly to potential clients, and they get to see your face and kind of put the face to the name and get an idea of what you and your business are all about. My personal example that I used was Sir David Attenborough. I have listened to him and watched him so much on the various nature programs that I feel like I know him. And you can do that with your customers with video as well. Maybe not as well as Sir David does, but if you develop a consistent video program with your business, your customers will begin to know you. So that's number one. And Greg, you can certainly attest to that. I mean, you have a face for radio, but you're on live all the time.
Well, we do YouTube just to prove it every now and then.
There you go.
Like, gosh, he really does have the face for radio. Look at him. What a mess.
There you go.
Okay.
So the second why is your customers actually expect this and they want it. Surveys have indicated, and the data supports, that people want to see an explainer video of who are you and what do you do before they engage with you. We're a little more reserved due to our screens than we were, let's say, 10 years ago. But now having an introductory video is actually a really good thing. And if you don't have it, it could work against you. Third, it improves conversions. You're saving some time, you're getting your message across, and people can refer back to it if they need to know some more about your business or what your specials are, that sort of thing. They can look at it on the video and get back in touch. And then the fourth one is you will be able to convert sales. If you create a 5-part video program that's basically your welcome video, your frequently answered questions, your have you ever wondered how this works sort of videos, bio videos, and also customer testimonials. That's like the 5 fingers of the hand that reaches for the money. And if you can use all of those types of videos when you're speaking directly to your potential customers, it's the first wave of getting them interested, hooking them in on what you're going to do, and then closing the sale and keeping them as a customer. So, boom.
Yeah,
If
I
you're not
love it.
using video, start doing it now.
Yeah.
Gil's got a hand up.
We got kind of sucked into it at Scuba Radio. And I mean, and that's what we're doing right now with the podcast to a certain extent, right, Willie?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a great tool when you put the visuals behind it. Gil, you had a question or someone did?
Just something to add. Catherine knows that in advertising, the first thing you ever do when you create a website for someone, or even before that, is create what we call an explainer video. Could be could be a minute, minute and a half. That's about the top length of time someone can pay attention these days. But it answers the 5 questions, and it's something you can build off of. You can do future videos for separate FAQs. You can do future videos with testimonials, whatever. But that explainer video, or let me explain it to you, Lucy, that kind of thing always helps.
And you always, always, always want to tell your customer what you're going to do for them that's going to improve their life and make everything better. Because at the end of the day, you're in business to make certain that they have a better life. However you do it, whether it's a beauty cream or a diet product or a diving lesson, we're all in the business of relationships that are going to make people's lives better.
Right. Just remember when you're watching us, the camera adds 10 pounds.
Yes.
There you go.
And 10 years for some of us older people. Not for you young ladies. You guys look fabulous.
There you go. Well, Gil kind of stepped right in there. I think maybe we ought to go to him next, Willie. What do you think?
Well, let's go from the Azores back to California.
Yeah.
See ya.
Yeah.
Thanks,
see ya, Catherine. Gil Zeimer. He's in San Rafael, California, page 27. Hydrophilic, is that the right film?
I know, right?
A breakthrough in anti-fogging technology for your dive mask. So what is this exactly, Gil? What can you tell us? I'm
going to show the photo from the article right there, Gil, while you're talking. Everybody can see that mask that's got a film on it. So go ahead, Gil.
Yeah. So is it hydro...
Philic or phylic or?
Yeah, hydrophilic film means that it adheres. It's a coating that's been treated and it absorbs water. Also repels fog. But this is their promotional advertising card. And Willie introduced me to Carl Hamouche, who's the creator of this product. It's an amazing product. I haven't used it personally yet. Willie has. Why don't you tell him about it for a second?
Yeah, I used it first on a shore dive down in Curacao back in January. And then when we did that big tiger shark hammerhead dive in Bimini, I was wearing it as well. And I mean, it's just remarkable. I've never dove a mask ever that just simply doesn't fog. Whether you're at 100 feet or whether you're on the surface, in a hot tropical air, never fogs. It's a remarkable invention. I'm surprised that not everybody uses it yet. So it's a cool thing.
How does it work? Well, you put it on or glue it on or something, or what?
Gil can explain the science behind it, but it's like a window cling. Basically, you just peel off 2 sides and it goes in your mask, and you can trim it to fit the exact lens of whatever mask you have. And it's a one and done thing, and it lasts forever. Yeah, wow. You can either do the individuals like that, or they have a big one depending upon your mask shape. They got 5 or 6 different shapes, but I mean, this isn't necessarily an advertising because it's something unique and a breakthrough. And Gil did a great job of trying to explain the concepts behind it because there is science. The guy that invented it is a doctor and has done a lot of swimming. Not to take your thunder away, Gil, but we've talked to him on interviews as well, and he's just a cool guy. And wasn't even a diver when he started. He was in the swimming world.
Yeah, he had a background of swimming. He was born in Syria, I think.
Lebanon, I think, yeah.
He came here as a kid. Family moved to Iowa, and he started swimming. And he swam all through middle school, high school, college, a lifelong swimmer. And his goggles always got fogged up. So he said there must be a better way. He invented this. He met a guy in Florida named Brent who was helping him market it. And Brent was at DEMA last year. I wasn't there, but Carl and Willie told me there was always a line out the door of their booth for people to buy it, test it. And each package looks like this. And inside are 2 lenses, a little scraper or scrubber to get the air bubbles out. And all you do is cut the lenses to size of your mask. They're different size packages. And you peel off all the film, put a little drop or 2 of water, and it adheres, and it lasts for years, maybe, or months, maybe years. And So he invented this product, and then Brent helped him get proof of concept. And now they're selling it. There are ads now accompanying this story in Scuba Diving Industry Magazine. He's going to be at DEMA. He can't come to DEMA because his wife is due any day around then. He's getting certified for diving right now, and he's excited that this product is coming to light. But it was just a dream product that happened at the right time. And Catherine, yes.
Catherine wants to order one, I think.
I want to know, how do I get this product?
Yeah, see, I knew.
You've already told me it's going to make my life better, so tell me how I get it.
I believe the URL is in the article. But it comes in all these different sizes, and type of mask. If you have a full face mask, you can get one of those. If you have lenses, different size side lenses like my mask, you can get it to fit like that.
Yeah, but it's called Fog X, according to the packaging there. Yeah.
And, Fog X. So it's available direct to consumer.
Direct to consumers as well as
retailers. Yeah, both.
Okay.
Through the app really created.
Yeah, he's actually trying to expand his dealer network so it becomes more easier for people to get the product. So he'd prefer to go through wholesale, ideally, but they do direct sales.
Yeah. And I'd like to buy that from a dive center because I think they're probably going to get really good at installing the lenses. So that would be a great way to order it and have it available at my local dive center so they can help me.
That's a great idea.
It kind of looks similar to like installing a screensaver on an iPad or something.
Similar, yeah. Yeah, it does. It has a front and the back piece you peel away, but it goes on super easy. I mean, it's kind of cool to come across something that's A, very inexpensive. It's not, they don't charge a fortune for it, and B, it just simply works. It works fantastic. I mean, and they've had people do ice diving even, and it works fantastic, which is, I guess, a horrible environment for fogging.
Well, I'm going to the Maldives in 3 weeks. Sounds like I got to place an order. That sounds pretty good.
Definitely. We'll get him to do that. So thanks again, Gil. Great article, by the way.
I just put the URL in the chat for everyone here.
There you go. There you go.
All right. Well, next up, we got Jeff Cincirpino at Rocky Hill, Connecticut. And on page 37, winning with a balanced scorecard, part 2. So tell us why a scorecard is important to retailers there, Jeff.
Yeah, this was our second part of this series. And like everything, I like examples when I'm trying to learn something. It just helps me to think about things along that line. So I thought as a follow-up to that first article, I'd kind of take through a fictional case study of a local dive shop. You can tell I'm a very creative person because I got XYZ Dive Shop out there as the store in question, but I could have said Jeff's Dive Shop or something like that. But anyway, XYZ Dive Shop is just a local dive shop, typical of a lot of different areas. I didn't specify it to a particular location, but it's kind of has 4 seasons of their dive year. Mainly in the Northern Hemisphere. Our summer is our big time of the year that we do all of our training and things like that. And we're about an hour or so from an open water site. So typical, a lot of small dive shops like this out there. But the scorecard really takes us from, let's just not measure our profit and loss. They're very important, and our balance sheet is extremely important from a business health perspective. But how we get there is by planning. And the balanced scorecard is a great way to help you plan across multiple dimensions of your business. We got the financial metrics, the customer metrics, employee growth, and things along our internal processes. So I tried to give some examples there of different KPIs, key performance indicators for each one of those areas. So for example, if we're looking at our dive professionals, our internal growth and education perspective, we might want to look at How many new certifications do our dive pros get in a year? That helps us to raise the bar for our training across all levels. And some of the things you might want to do with that is, how many do you want? How many certifications do you want them to get in a year? So we set a target out there, and then we put the incentives or the initiatives together for each one of those. How are you going to get them there? If you want this, you got to make a little bit of an investment in it. You might want to celebrate some of their successes with their blog posts or social media posts out there on that. So it's trying to build your strategy around it. So that's just one of the examples that we provided there. A lot of times, in a business, especially if you have a service department, the last thing you want is customers coming back with equipment that was serviced and is not operating properly. So do you want to start tracking how much stuff comes back? How much rework is there? And then what are you going to do about that? How are you going to solve for some of that stuff? So the balance scorecard looks at all those things across levels. And, I talk a little bit about some of the financial things. How many of your open water students are coming back after their certification? It was always a challenge at the dive shop, is you invested so much money and time. Your students invested all this money, you've invested time, and then they don't come back. So how are you going to get them back into the community? One of those ways is percentage of new the number of new dive travelers. You have your core group of people, they come with you all the time. You can track that. They're really good at signing up for trips. But how many new people are coming on? Should you set a target for that? Is that going to drive your results? So there's a lot of different ways to build a strategy for a business. And if you're struggling with that a little bit, you might want to take a look at a balanced scorecard approach to drive your strategy. Develop your KPIs, your key performance indicators, set your targets, and then start to put some initiatives in place that help you get to some of that stuff. Caution though, be careful. Just because you can measure something doesn't mean you should measure it. It's got to tie back to your mission statement. And I know there's a lot of people have different opinions about mission statements, but I'm a big believer in it because it helps keep you grounded. It helps keep you grounded. It helps keep your staff grounded, and it helps your customers understand why you're there. So spend some time on your mission statement if you haven't, and then drive your key performance indicators off of that. And hopefully, when you look at the end of the month or the quarter or the end of the year, your profit and loss is going to be where you want it to be, and your balance sheet is going to be strengthened.
Sounds to me like we need an article on how to build a mission statement.
Mm-hmm. Maybe.
I mean, it's serious. It's not a simple thing. I've gone through the process with DEMA, the organization itself, and it's amazing how much goes into doing a simple mission statement and how much time and energy it took and hours to come up with just a simple statement that we use for the organization. So it's not something to easily just it takes 2 seconds to write down. And maybe Catherine or Shelley might want to dive into that too.
What do you think, Catherine? She's just giving thumbs up. That's all.
I was like already making notes.
Oh, good.
What is the mission statement? To make crap loads of money. No, is that it? No.
I'm on it.
Yeah,
Thanks,
Catherine,
Jeff.
we can work on that together if you'd like.
Awesome. That'd be super. I'd love that.
No,
Okay.
maybe, we love collaboration. So thank you again, Jeff. We really, really love your comments, and it's just so spot on for retailers out there. So Greg, we go now from Rocky Hill, Connecticut to
Dallas,
right here in town, Dallas, Texas. I think they're no more than 2 miles from where I'm sitting right now.
There you go. We got David and Lily, page 11. They wrote an article, Scheduling Time to Smell the Roses. Okay, so building time for disruptions, but what does that mean? To stop and smell the roses. Lily, you want to take that, or who's going first?
Who was going to start?
Okay, go ahead there, David. What can you tell us about smelling the roses? but we got to turn on our microphone
have your
first.
speaker.
There we go.
There
All
it
right.
is.
I
That's
was being
fine.
nice and keeping it on off.
He was he
you-
was busy smelling the roses.
Yes,
As-
exactly.
Right. No, but when you're traveling across the world, both you and your luggage have probably been on several planes during this trek. And usually there's some major connection hub airports that you'll be passing through near the end of your journey, sort of like Tokyo or Hong Kong or Singapore or Taiwan or other large airports that have a lot of flight connections in them. Before you're going to your final destination, sort of like either to a resort or to a liveaboard that you're going to catch, you might want to take a day or two off at this connection hub to smell the roses, meaning that you're going to go explore the city while also allowing for time for any flight issues to be resolved, such as either you or your bags making it to the hub on schedule, because a lot of times there's a lot of mishaps. And a major international airport has lots of attractions to go see, and they're generally a destination in their own right. Mm-hmm. Right, Lily?
So just to give an example, we had scheduled a trip for liveaboard in Papua New Guinea, and we were flying from Dallas to LA, to Sydney and Cairns, and then from Cairns to Port Moresby to catch the boat. But when we did the plan, we decided to stay a couple of days in Cairns just to see some of the sites and to see the tablelands and that. And it was a really good thing that we did do 2 days, because when we got there, 2 of our 4 luggage were with us, and the other 2 went to Japan. So for us, it took 2 days to get the luggage and working with the airlines to get the luggage back to us just in time for us to catch the plane from Cairns over to Port Moresby. So it was very good. It was very helpful to have that time to determine that we could work out issues and at the same time we could do our sightseeing. But without that time, we would have gotten on the boat without our dive gear. So the same thing happened on the way back. So after the 10-day trip, we were the van dropped us off at the airport. But the problem was when we got to the airport, we didn't see any people, we didn't see any cars, anything, and we went into this empty airport in Port Moresby. We saw one guy at a counter and dragged all our luggage to him and said we were on our way back to Cairns to catch, and people were from all over the place. So we had people in Asia, people in the U.S. and all that, and they all had direct flights. So we went there and talked to the attendant, and the attendant basically said, "No plane today, maybe tomorrow." So that caused a big commotion with everyone because they had direct connecting flights. For us, luckily, we had also added 2 days in Cairns to go back. So all we had to do was call our bed and breakfast place and let the landlady know that we were going to be a day late or so. And so that worked out for us going there and going back. And the fact that we had the time there to allocate time to do any kind of problem solving, it all worked out, and we were able to catch all our flights.
Yeah,
that's pretty.
And while that experience was just Lily and I traveling together, you can also plan these smell the roses excursions, for group trips like we did last year. We took a group of 18 to North Sulawesi in Indonesia to hit 3 resorts and ending up in Limbe, but we had to meet in Singapore before catching the regional airline over to Manado. So we chose to plan several days in Singapore to explore these sites in the city, and everybody thoroughly enjoyed the adventure. That was like one of the big highlights that they enjoyed. And Singapore is a place that you gotta spend more than a couple of days in to go see all the sites. Luckily, all of our people and all their bags arrived as scheduled, but they hadn't. But if they hadn't, then we would have had some buffer time and able to make up late arrivals of either people or bags before we started off on our final destination to go to North Sulawesi, because we had to have a specific flight to get from Singapore to Manado, and there was only one of them. So you better be there on that time.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
there's
golden advice right here. I mean, if you're a dive shop out there and you're planning that big exotic trip, these are great words of wisdom. It can
I'm
make
doing
a huge
just that.
difference.
Actually, in just a few weeks, I'm going to the Maldives, and I'm spending 24 hours And Singapore at the airport there, which is rated as the #1 airport in the world.
It's an amazing place. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to go see the fountain.
Yeah, the fountain. It's the largest indoor fountain in the world. Yeah, you just do a little Google search and stuff, and you have a little layover. You can next thing you can add another element to your dive adventure that a lot of people don't.
Also, their
think
subway
about.
goes right to the airport, so you can take the subway. They have a great subway system. It takes you through town. So while you're there, go see some of the other sites that you can do. The very first time that Lily and I went to Singapore, we just had an overnight occasion, and we got in like early evening, and then we hopped a cab after putting our stuff in the hotel. Went to Raffles Hotel for a Singapore sling, and then we took a
yeah.
And then we
what
took
you do
because it was my birthday.
Of course.
And we took a rickshaw ride about like 2 a.m. Where the guy was telling where things were supposed to have been, during the daytime. But then we got back and took off on our flight in the morning. But, there's too many potential issues that can happen on a long journey as far as, things that can arise, like connecting flights. You can have delays for all sorts of reasons, and even cancellations where either you or your bags don't make it to the next scheduled flight.
Right.
And the more complicated the journey, then it's probably a good idea to schedule in strategic buffer time and go smell the roses.
Thanks again. That's a great article. I really appreciate it.
I'm going to be smelling the Singapore slings. They have a scent, don't they?
Tasting them. They're delicious. Hey, so I'm going to queue up the next writer because John Fine is a new writer to us, but he's not new to writing. A lot like Gil when we first found out about Gil. And John's been writing for magazines, General Leisure and dive magazines for years. He's based out of the South Florida area. And he wrote an article this month on the Florida Keys coral restoration successes from the I Care About Coral.org. And he was unable to make it, but the person he wrote about was Michael Goldberg, which we happen to have here today.
The man, the myth, the legend, right here with us.
And he knows you. In fact, we were just talking yesterday, and he said, "Oh my gosh, Greg was just down here."
Well, don't hold that against him.
I've got this photo too. This was like, I guess you guys, how many tons of trash did you guys haul out, Michael?
Just over 37,000 pounds.
That's insane, isn't it? That was the I Care Trash Derby that they just had a couple months ago. I was down there for their event, and what a great effort that they have done. I mean, cool. This was the third? Is that what it was?
It was our third one. We had over 900 participants, and we collected that debris over 2 days from Key West to Key Largo.
Yeah.
It's an amazing effort by so many people. You can't pull an event off like that with 3 or 4. There was nonprofits up and down the Keys, from outside the Keys coming in to help, to participate, to support, to make it work. It was a fabulous weekend, and we'll be doing it again next year.
Yeah.
April 30th through May 2nd, I believe, are the dates. It's become a staple down here.
Yeah. And by the way, he probably won't toot his own horn, but I got to say, I was watching this from afar the last couple of years, and I got down there for this year's event, and I was just blown away because one of the cool things that they did with this event, Willie, and the rest of the gang and anyone listening, is that you guys gave away 300, 500 dive spots or something. And if you went and dove down in the Florida Keys and signed up for one of these free spots that all the operators up and down the Keys gave away, you agreed to go and help gather up some of the garbage and participate in this event. So not only did they do such great work, but they gave away a crap load of free dives and drew people down to the Keys all throughout Florida and from all over the country, actually. It wasn't just the Florida Keys. So a pretty cool idea and concept that Mike and his gang there at iCare put together. There you go, Mike. How about that?
Yeah, we had 540 divers, I believe.
Wow.
Something to that effect. Wow. An incredible number of divers. But know that iCare, what we do isn't cleaning up the reef. That technically is a fundraiser, but it's a great way to raise money and awareness for the work that we do. But we are a reef restoration group here in Florida. And we've been in existence now for 5 years. We started our organization along with my co-founder, Dr. Kylie Smith, to empower recreational divers to be at the fulcrum, be at the core of the work that we do. We've put out tens of thousands of corals, many thousands of sponges, and over 90% of that is being done by recreational divers. I own a dive business as well, but my goal was to give our community a voice, an active voice, so they could be a participant in something that is incredibly important to our existence as an industry. And it is largely, at least in Florida and in many parts of the world, it's overlooked as the way to rebuild a coral reef. So we're excited. It's been working. Our group has now educated and trained over 5,000 divers in 5 years. It's an astounding number, but it shows the hunger. It shows the desire of our community wanting to make our reef better than it is today. And it's at the core of everything that we are talking about here today. We're all divers. We all care about the reef. Well, the reef needs and really, truly does need our help.
Yeah, well, it's an investment in the future too, and I think, what is it, every Friday you guys do a special dive that people can participate in if they like? Isn't that right, Mike?
Every Friday, every Saturday, a couple Sundays out of the month. But even more importantly, I think, not just on a regular basis, but we also set up educational programs for schools, for universities, where they come down here for periods of time where they can entrench themselves in conservation. We set these programs up for dive shops. We have dive shops that come down for 2, 3, 4 days, and they'll take half of their trip just to participate in conservation work, whether it's cleaning up, whether it's planting sponges, corals. We stop at nothing when it comes to the science. We have some of the world's best scientists in our organization, and we teach from beginning to end everything that we're doing, so they get a true understanding of the work that's involved. Honestly, the majority of the work is after the corals and sponges have been put down, but then they get a good sense of really what it does take to make this all work.
Yeah, I mean, the technology is fascinating too. By the way, how they actually, they basically grow these little coral polyps and then plant them out there, and you can go out on one of these dives and participate in that. It's a really cool concept. Gil, you had a question or comment maybe about this?
I'd love to get Mike's email address to follow up with him to write an article in my series about how to blue your business and make more green. And I also want to tell you about Blue Friday, where we're telling divers around the world on Black Friday to not shop, but go diving.
Or go plant coral down there with Mike and the eye care.
That'd be a cool
team.
idea. Well, Mike, thanks for being on our show, and thanks for telling us a little bit about your efforts. And this is a special shout out to John Christopher Fine. Thank you again for a great article you wrote. And he's already written 2 or 3 more for us that we've got in the hopper. So we expect to have a lot more articles. And the keys are such an important part of our dive industry, really, truly are. And I'm really great to have some contributions from this. And Michael, I'm going to challenge you to think about writing for us as well.
Like he doesn't have enough to do already.
Exactly.
But it's icareaboutcoral.org. Is that the website they could go to and get to you as well, Mike, or is there another one?
Yeah, I just shot Gil my email address, so you can reach me directly. And the website is icareaboutcoral.org.
Okay, there you go. Good stuff.
Well, thank you again.
Quite a guy.
And last but not least, we're going to go from Florida now back out to the West.
Arizona. Here we come, Shelley. So page 25, 5 keys to success in a startup dive business. So what are these 5 keys? What can you tell us?
I love it. Well, number 1 is passion. And we've been talking about passion all day. It's not enough to start with a passion for scuba. I mean, we all have that. We share that. But what is your passion for your business? What makes your business unique? And being able to clearly tell that story about your mission, vision, and values, which we talked about earlier, and we'll say more about next month. But what is it about your passion that drives you as a business owner, as a business leader, and keeps you moving forward? So passion is number 1. Number 2 is resilience. And by resilience, I don't mean stamina, I don't mean endurance. I mean, what are you going to do when you hit challenges, obstacles, barriers? What's going to keep you going forward when you hit those roadblocks and things like that? Because we all do. It's part of being a business, it's part of creating a new space in your market and so forth. So, resilience. Flexibility is number 3. So we know from both science and from lived experience that when we behave in a way that's a rigid mindset, rigid in our thinking, we limit ourselves. So we always have to be adapting to what's new in the market, new products, new opportunities, new market segments, new opportunities for collaboration. What are those new ways we can continue to adapt and move the business? Number 4 is futuristic mindset. So that's kind of related to this idea of continuing to improve and look at where is the new and next emergent opportunity as well. So always looking for that new niche, that new opportunity to expand or grow into a new direction. And then lastly, ambition and action. We kind of combined that together because you got to keep going. You want to never say quit, right? Business is it's a long game. You always want to keep moving forward, but sort of beginning with the end game and thinking longer term implications of the choice today, not just looking for today's transaction, but how do we build? Catherine talked earlier about building that long-term relationship with your customers, building that long-term legacy in how you want your business, your staff, and your own actions in the world to be remembered. So that's the short version.
That's good.
Read the long version on page 25, but I think of those 5 keys. To me, as a business owner and having done what I've done for the last 4 decades or so in this industry, I think flexibility is probably the most important thing there, because so many times you have to be willing to take a right turn, take a left turn. Well, that didn't work. Well, it doesn't mean it's a fail. Just got to try something different.
Right.
So thank you, Shelley. I love this series. I think it's so needed, and it so applies to just about any startup or any business in our industry. So thank you for taking time to write that great article.
Thank you.
Yeah, excellent stuff.
So Greg, I wrote 2 articles this month. One was always from the publisher, and they both are tied to the same thing. And I do want to talk a minute about on page 30. There's a great article. If you get a chance to read this June issue, there's been a lot of research out that's new and that deals with mostly consumers, but it's a trend that we're seeing in the advertising world is return of touch is what they're calling. And there was a new Harris poll that just came out a couple of months ago, and it was a very extensive survey across all the different demographics of consumers out there. And even the generals, the Gen Zs, the millennials are saying 73% of them like the touch and feel of a magazine. 69% of all consumers and 78% for the younger generations, Gen Z and millennials, are influenced by print media. And it's they call it digital fatigue. And that article is a lot about digital fatigue. That's really a real issue that right now we're dealing with. And Gen Z has probably experienced it the worst, 81%. So they like to disconnect more. So the 2 articles tie together. One is for dive shops saying, hey, here's how you can harness your online clicks and then convert those to in-store sales, because the survey that I quoted from the publisher, 66% of everybody that walks into a brick and mortar store has already researched in advance before they walked in online about what they're looking for. So that tie-in's really important between the two. So that's just kind of my quick commercial for those 2 articles. They're great article, great issue. And thank you all the writers that contributed this month. Britton and I really appreciate all the content that comes in. And please keep those articles coming. Our next editorial closes in 2 days on the 10th. And
what can you preview for us on that?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. We're going to continue with the key stuff. So we were able to get Chandler Wright of NOAA to write an article for us on their Guardians of the Reef program, which is part of that iCare program, I believe, in the Keys there. Mm-hmm. Dan Orr is writing another one of his continue with his fantastic safety series. Joel Silverstein out of Havasu City, Arizona, has written an article for us on the accuracy of gas analyzers, and he's got quite some interesting information. Al continues the series liability. We already talked about it. Jeff, I loved his article for next month, which is on selling hard goods. John wrote an article on Dr. Sylvia Earle, John Fine, and then Alex's continues that great series, the Great Disconnect. And Gil's on assignment this next month. He's going to be writing about another product innovation from Garmin that we can't talk about until a little later on, but he's going to be talking about some really cutting edge stuff that they're doing. And Britt and I are going to go diving with some of this new technology at the end of this month. We've been invited out to North Carolina to get in the water and test some of the stuff. So
go see the sawtooth tiger. What kind of sharks are they? The sawtooth. Is that what they're called?
I think the Megalodon's what you're thinking about. The Megalodons?
Megalodon? No, those are
the
extinct.
Teeth they find. I know the teeth.
No. North Carolina. That's where out on the wrecks they have the sawtooth sharks.
Oh, no, we're going to be in a quarry. It's going to be almost as exciting.
All right. Well, okay. Maybe you'll find a megalodon tooth. Then.
Megalodon will be in there somewhere in the quarry.
We'll have to read all about it in Scuba Diving Industry Magazine. Well, good stuff as always, Willie. We will look forward to that, but I guess it's time to wrap it up for this.
Take us time to ride down that trail.
Let's do it. Let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up. Till next time, remember, you can check out Scuba Radio in the meantime every Saturday, 3 to 5 Eastern Time. I'm Greg the Dive Master. Remember, it's always better.
It's always better where it's
they got it, see?
This has been Level Up, the podcast of Scuba Diving Industry Magazine. Produced by Scuba Radio and the Klein Group. For more info, go to ScubaDivingIndustry.com.